The Alabama student athletes get settled here. We're going to open with questions to begin here from the interview room. So if you do have a question, raise your hand, and we will have someone get a microphone to you. We can start here on the right side, middle.
Mike Rodak with AL.com. For Javon, you'd mentioned on Twitter today about the balls potentially being overinflated in the tournament. Just what have you noticed from that, and how has that affected you?
Yeah, I just feel like sometimes, the balls are just a little too bouncy. I don't think it's affected me personally this tournament, but, it's been something that the guys talk about in the locker room.
More questions? Right side, back row.
For Brandon, Ryan Hennessey, WVTM, NBC 13 in Birmingham. Just want to ask about the groin. How's it been, and how helpful was the break from Birmingham?
It's been really good. I feel like me and Clark spent a lot of time with it during the break. So I feel like I can just go out here and compete with my team at 100%.
Any more questions from, okay, back left side, back row.
Mark, Bryce Miller, San Diego Union Tribune. Seems like San Diego State's an interesting combination of physicality and size and really experienced guys. They don't play any underclassmen. How do you view them in terms of that type of matchup, inside?
Very older team, but I feel like we prepared with a great non-conference schedule and a great conference schedule to prepare for them.
Next question on the back row, left side.
Trey Wallace, Outkick. Brandon, does San Diego State remind you of anybody in the SEC that you guys have played against this year? Maybe Texas A&M, maybe an Arkansas type of bunch? Who do they kind of look to you like?
I think they're being viewed right now from us. It's just a team that we have to go out and play really hard against. We know they're a veteran team, so they're going to be physical, probably more experienced than us. But I know that they're going to come out and play hard. I feel like we just have to come out and give the most energy that we can possibly bring.
Right side, center aisle.
Hey, Julian with Fox 5 San Diego. I guess for the three of you, what have you seen on tape from San Diego State so far that's led to their success to get to this point?
Well, we started watching film over the break. We saw that they played a 4-5, a legit 4-5. I feel like, we know that they're a veteran group, of course. I think we just have to come out and just compete.
Oh, yeah, I agree with him. A veteran group, the defense, they cause some teams problems, but I feel like we're prepared for them.
Yeah, definitely their physicality stood out. Like these guys said, veteran group, you could tell that, they've been playing college basketball for a while, and, they look like a really good team on film.
More questions here in the interview room. Far left side, second row.
Danielle Lerner, Houston Chronicle. You guys have obviously experienced these last few weeks being the #1 seed, but when you look at this regional, there are, I guess, more underdogs, quote unquote, than there are in other regions of this tournament. Have you found any useful tricks or tips to kind of keep yourselves, as you've been dominating in your first two games, from getting complacent and kind of just trying to handle that dichotomy?
I feel like us as a group, we just take it slow. We don't overlook any team. We know this team is here for a reason. They beat highly talented teams. So we just have to come out here and just play our game, really, and just not let them speed us up or play at their tempo.
And another thing is we take it one possession at a time.
That was Brandon and Mark. Thank you. Question now, right side, back row.
Brandon, coming from Birmingham, the first two rounds, what's the message to the fans? Not too bad of a trip up 65. What do you want to see in the crowd tomorrow?
Well, we know as a team they came out and showed out in Birmingham and Nashville. So we just hope to see them here in Louisville tomorrow and just root us on. And we always going to play for them and feed off their energy.
Okay. Left side, center aisle.
Tim Sullivan, Leo Weekley. We saw photographs of Coach Saban at your practice yesterday. I wonder what his message was, and has he cleared up the question about wrong place, wrong time?
It was a great experience in practice for me, I could say, because I always grew up being an Alabama football fan. So Coach Saban has always been a great role model for me. So it was just great just seeing him arm's length away from me.
Okay, next question, right side in the middle. Oh, okay. Well, let's go to front row here on the left.
Brandon, you've had a few games, the Houston game last week against Corpus Christi. I mean, a lot of players have games where they aren't all the way there, aren't as. Is there any common thread to your tough games that you've identified at this point that you have to solve each night?
Just knowing I have guys behind me to back me up when I'm not on each night, it's kind of a great thing to have. I think the leaders next to me here on this podium today is they kind of challenged me to be the guy who I am today, on and off the court. So it's just not about scoring the basketball. I think it's the little things like playing defense, getting every rebound, taking charges, just really doing the dirty things on the court to get wins.
Okay, let's go to the front row on the right here, and then we'll take a Zoom question.
Gary Graves, Associated Press. I guess with Saban at practice yesterday, kind of brings attention to the fact that you all have brought a lot of attention to the basketball program from what is considered a football school. How have you all kind of embraced the, kind of getting that kind of profile these last 2 or 3 years? And where do you feel like it kind of establishes the school?
I feel like it kind of motivates us guys. I feel like we have a winning school. It's just not about the football team at Alabama. I feel like it's Alabama basketball, Alabama football, Alabama track. All the organizations there, I feel like it's just a winning program.
Okay, next question is going to be from our Zoom attendants. Chris, you have a question?
Hi, I'm Chris Hodgson over at KEIT in Jonesboro, Arkansas. For all three of you guys, wanted to ask you about Brian Hodgson being hired up here as the new Arkansas State head coach. What has he meant to you guys in terms of a coach and recruiter and everything, especially as a person?
I'm so happy for Coach. That's who recruited me when I decided to transfer from Villanova. I'm super happy for him. Since he's gotten to Alabama, he's brought great players in. Obviously, we've been winning a lot more, and I just couldn't be more happy for him.
Thanks, Javon. Let's bring questions back into the interview room here. Right side, let's start here on the end, and then we'll go a few seats over.
Isaac Bourne from Mid-Major Madness. Kind of talking back about this San Diego State team. You guys play a majority of your game, or play a lot of your game on the perimeter, really good at three-point shooting, and San Diego State has one of the top three-point defenses in the nation. So how are you going to adjust this game to kind of, go against one of these better defenses?
I feel like, we played a bunch of teams this year who's tried to run us off the three-point line, and, we've adjusted and we've made we've gotten to the basket if they try to run us off the line. We get a feel for how they're guarding us, and we try and find that adjustment. And this won't be the first team who's not trying to let us shoot threes. So I think we're pretty prepared for whatever they throw at us.
Okay. Thanks, Javon. Right side.
Mark Ziegler, San Diego Union-Tribune. I know you guys can't talk about the incident. Hopefully Brandon and Mark can both answer the specifics of the incident. But I'm curious, there's a lot of external distractions around your team. How have you been able to deal with it and not have that sort of morph into the basketball court? How have you been able to block that out?
I feel like we just lean on each other.
Yeah, to go what he said, we just lean on one another.
Any more questions here in the interview room? Okay. We will let the Alabama student athletes go. Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Coach Oates is on his way up now. So you get settled in. Just a reminder, raise your hand for a microphone, and we'll get it to you as soon as we can. So he gets settled. Would ask if he doesn't mind to open with an opening statement here. Coach, welcome to Louisville in the Sweet 16.
It's great to be here in Louisville. We were in the Sweet 16 2 years ago. It's a lot different situation this year with having the arenas full. Completely different team. You know, Quinterly's the only scholarship player that was on both teams. He's obviously playing great for us now. He played great for us then, but come back with two separate teams. You know, all the teams in the Sweet 16 are pretty good. San Diego State's really good. You know, we've got two teams with us and them that are both top 5 in the country in defensive efficiency. They're a great defensive team. They've got a lot of players on the offensive side that can create shots. We're going to have to be great defensively. You know, there's similarities in that. There's obviously style of play differences. They play a lot slower. We try to get it up and down. You know, so it's going to be who can make it more their tempo. But I think we've been able to show that we win games in the half court too. You know, when you've got a good defense, I think you're in most games. So we're going to have to be great defensively. We're going to have to rebound the ball well. And, you know, we're still going to try to play fast, but we're not, you know, if you watch us play, we don't force the tempo on our defensive end. You know, we're not gambling, pressing, trying to get the tempo. We play pretty solid on the defensive end. So, you know, we'll push on offense, try to score early. If they're getting back and not letting us score early, we've won plenty of games in the half court too. So we're confident we can win either way, but we're going to have to be tough. They're an older group. We're younger. We don't have near the experience they have, which, you know, with most groups, I think that'd worry you. I think this group's shown how much maturity we have. And the fact that we're young doesn't mean that we're immature. It just means guys haven't played as many games and they're a little bit younger. I told our guys this morning, the NBA drafts a lot of young players and they start them early in their career and they're pretty good. Like, I think you guys have been mature, and this lack of experience that people are talking about, I'm not worried about it because you guys have shown how mature and prepared you can get. The age doesn't necessarily matter. It's more what your mindset is, how focused you are, how mature you are when you walk in. So we're looking forward to playing a great game. We're happy to be here. It's a great time for Alabama basketball.
Thank you, Coach. Let's open it up. Start here on the right side. We'll go 1 and 2.
Ryan Hennessey, NBC 13 in Birmingham. Coach, this location, the reason why you guys are here, the fans is a big reason. Quick trip. What's the message to the fans that can make a long weekend out of this?
They've been great for us the entire NCAA tournament. We'd love it for them to come support us just like they did in Birmingham. Yeah, when you get the #1 overall seed, you get to choose your first 2 locations. So we chose the 2 closest places, obviously Birmingham and now here. So, it's not too long of a drive, and we need their support. They've been great for us all year. We love to hear them. We loved having them in Birmingham. We loved them having them in Nashville for the SEC tournament. So just a little further, you can stop through Nashville on your way up here to Louisville.
Dana O'Neill with The Athletic. Nate, John Calipari used to like to say, I'm not going to let anybody steal my joy. And with everything that's been going on around your program, have you, and maybe even more importantly, your players, been able to enjoy this?
Yeah, we're having a blast. We're winning games. We know who we are. We've got a great group of guys that lean on each other, that have come close. We've never lost sight of the fact that we have a heartbreaking situation surrounding the program. Like, that's the fact that we have such a good group of guys enables them to keep that, as they should, be a serious matter, and it has been. But you play basketball from the time you were young to get to these moments, and we're going to enjoy these moments. That they've earned the right to enjoy the moment they're in, and I think our guys are having a lot of fun. And you know what? I delete all social media apps off my phone before the season. I encourage our guys to spend more time watching film and everything. We're going to control the stuff we can control, and our guys have done a great job being cognizant and aware of the entire situation we have going on, the big picture stuff, but they've done a great job of being where their feet are at and focusing on the details at hand. When we're in a video session, that's where our minds are at. When we're in practice, that's where our minds are at. We're focused on practice. When we come into the games and the ball goes up, our entire focus is on what we need to do to win that basketball game. So I think that's enabled us to enjoy the moment as we're in the moments too.
Okay, a bunch of questions on this right side. We'll start in the front, then middle, then back.
Nate, the three-point shooting numbers across the tournament are pretty low. The actual ball itself keeps coming up. I think one of your guys said that guys in the locker room are talking about it. Other sites, guys have talked about it. Is this an actual thing? Should there be a uniform ball across college basketball? Have a new ball for the postseason seems kind of odd.
Yeah, we kind of had the discussions as staff. So I'm big on the players being as comfortable as they can be. The environment, we try to shoot in the arena we're in. If we get into a place, we shoot the night before. Charlie Henry was in the NBA, was on our staff. He's just like, I have no idea how college doesn't have a uniform ball. Like, you couldn't imagine you're in the NBA, everybody plays with the same ball every night. So here we've got all the different balls we could possibly play with through the year. Garrett, our equipment manager, has enough of them that the days leading into that particular game, we play with that ball. Nike School, Wilson, whatever, go down the line. I do think it'd be a lot better if the NCAA mandated a particular ball. I'm sure there's money aspects involved with all that. I don't play anymore. I used to play. I still shoot occasionally when we're in there with the guys. I've felt the ball. You can pump up any ball to be too hard. It'd be great if the referees actually made sure it was within the guidelines of how hard it's supposed to be pumped up. Because obviously if you pump it up to where it's a rock, you're not going to shoot as well. It's going to come off the rim every time it hits us. But I don't see that there's an issue with the ball. I think defenses get better. As you look at the teams that are still winning, most of them have pretty good defenses. When the defenses get better, shooting percentages go down. I'm sure the NCAA is on top of making sure the balls are all going to be correctly inflated and all that here for these Sweet 16 rounds. But we got to do a great job of getting our shooters open shots, and I'm not going to be too worried about the ball. I'm going to be more worried about the stuff I can control. We preach it to our players all the time. I have zero control over the ball. I don't think there's an issue with it. Let's make sure we get our really good shooters as many good looks as we can and get the percentages up to where we need them to be.
Staying on the right side, third row.
Hey there, Coach. Obviously, Coach Saban stopped by practice yesterday, but a day before that, he had some pretty pointed words about a player that had gotten into trouble on his own squad. And, you know, that man is intentional just with some of his word choice. I'm curious if you took that to be a criticism of how the basketball team has handled the tragic situation this winter.
Yeah, so he and I talked that night, and I didn't take it that way at all. Got a ton of respect for Coach. You know, I said my opening press conference when I got hired at Alabama that he may be the best coach for team sports in modern sports history. I mean, when I was a high school coach back in Romulus, I had a whole section of Saban quotes in our practice plan. I still have it. I probably use them a little less now that we're here, and they get plenty of Saban quotes just in the regular media. But I've got a ton of respect for him. He's been tremendously supportive of our program since he's got here. I mean, he says it all the time. He wants the entire athletic department to do well. He's been at multiple games this year. He came yesterday to speak to the team, and you know, he was good. Players loved it. He and I got a great relationship, and I'm really thankful for the support that he's given us and continues to give us with the basketball program at Alabama.
Okay, we have two more questions here in the back row on the right, and then we'll go to the left side.
Billy Witz with the New York Times. Nate, the Alabama, I'm sure like a lot of schools, they bring in speakers either externally or internally to, you know, address things like how to treat women, NIL opportunities, even media training. And I'm just wondering, even though like guns are legal in Alabama, I understand, but they're not allowed to be on campus. Are athletes at all counseled or addressed on issues dealing with guns?
Yeah, we've had, like you said, we bring in speakers of all different types throughout the year. You know, that's been addressed. Certainly, and we've got an unbelievable administration with us, and they take the opportunities when it's appropriate to re-emphasize things that have been previously talked about and need to be emphasized, and that's been done. And I think our administration and our coaching staff's done a great job using the resources we have at Alabama to really help these young men grow into better adults and better citizens moving forward.
What was the message before? I'm sorry if this is more. What was the message then? I guess at some point earlier this season, before the shooting, about guns and whether, you know, just.
I mean, we emphasize you have to follow university policy. There's university policy, and as a student athlete, you should be well above reproach on all university policies regarding any of that type of stuff.
Okay, next question here on the right.
Nick Kelly, Tuscaloosa News. Nate, San Diego State's three-point defense is, I think, number 4 in the country. What stands out about that group and what they do against around the perimeter?
Yeah, so if you look at the way they guard, a lot of teams get their threes off, you know, running a ball screen or an action, and you got to pull a third defender in. That guy's got to go from rotation to help. They switch a lot, 1 through 5. You know, I think they switch all the time, 1 through 4 on ball screens. A lot of times they switch with the 5. Sometimes they don't. You know, they definitely have it in their package. But when you switch, you don't have to pull a third defender and you guard the pick and roll with 2. Now you may have to get some help on a post up or helping your big, but they do a great job. You know, as a whole concept of how they guard defensively. You know, their coaching staff does a great job, but then their players individually, you know, we get a lot of threes. Our guys are able to beat players one-on-one, so obviously they switch. They've got their power forward or center on, you know, our point guard, and they can beat them, get in the lane. All of a sudden help comes, we spray the ball out. They do a great job not getting beat. So, I mean, people can look at, just get out, challenge. Well, it's more than that, because if you don't help once you get beat, you're giving up a layup. I mean, you see some teams just refuse to help. They're scared of the way we shoot it, so they're not going to help, and we end up with 40 at the rim attempts and shoot 80% of those. So you can't just choose to not help off our shooters, or you're going to give up layup after layup after layup. unless you can sit down and guard the ball and not get beat. They have really good individual defenders that don't get beat. We're going to have to do a great job on our offensive end. I mean, we've played some really good defenses in the SEC. I mean, you look at Tennessee's. I mean, if you look at the top 5 defenses, I think we're one of them. And then after we play San Diego State, I think we'll have played 3 out of the 4. So, like, we played against great defenses. They didn't have fun. We lost at Tennessee. This is another one of them. We're going to have to be on point. They're tough. They're physical. They're big. They're strong. They move their feet. They take pride in it. You know, so we're going to have to do a good job and be sharp. And we can't turn the ball over. That's another issue. They will force turnovers with how physical they are, too.
Got time for one more question, actually, and that's on the second row on the end, on the left.
Right here, Nate. Danielle Lerner with the Houston Chronicle. I'm curious, with the David and Goliath narratives that tend to be really common throughout this tournament, how do you approach that as a 1 seed? Do you lean into it, or do you try to kind of flip it on its head a little bit, to motivate your guys and prevent from overlooking your opponents?
Yeah, I think what makes the NCAA tournament such a great event is what you're talking about. I mean, I go back to when I was a kid, and you see these, I'm thinking about Bryce Drew and hitting a shot at Valpo and just all those great upsets and shots. So, but you've also got great games between 2 great teams. I'm thinking about, Bobby Hurley's Duke team where Christian Laettner hit the shot against Kentucky. I mean, that's one of my best memories, watching 2 really good teams play. So you don't just have to have the upsets to make for great TV and for the fans. You can have really good teams going at it, which is what I think we've got here. We never lie to our team and try to tell them this. We don't try to. We tell them the truth. So we tell them, when we're focused and concentrating on what we're supposed to be focused on, we should be the best team in the country. Now we need to play like it, and we've had enough games this year where we haven't done that. So we're not trying to flip it and tell them anything different. They know we're the number 1 overall seed. They know what we're capable of when we bring it, but we need to bring it. They also know we're capable of losing at Oklahoma by a large margin. We lost to Tennessee. We didn't guard very well against Gonzaga. Took a loss last regular season game of the year. We went to A&M. Weren't what we needed to be. We've taken enough losses against good teams and some that weren't as good to where they know what they have to do on any given night. So, no, we're not. I mean, the David Goliath thing, from here on out, I think we're going to be playing really good teams. That's going to be 2 great teams going at it, and it'd be good for college basketball, and our guys just got to be ready to go.
All right, we're out of time for this segment. Coach, appreciate it, and good luck.